Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine and I'm having a small technical difficulty. There we go. I think I've got myself straightened out here. Just had to hit a couple more buttons. It's been a month since I've been live with you. It is time now for the February 2025 Creative Memories Virtual Crop. I am Catherine Skinner. I'm an independent advisor with Creative Memories, and I love to inspire all of you during these virtual crops to give you some extra ideas of pages you can make with the sketches. And I almost always take our single page sketches and turn them into double page sketches. So I hope you will stick with me and come along on this journey to see all four sketches. I had something else I was going to say, but now I can't think of what it was. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch over and it'll come to me, I'm sure, at some point over the next little bit of time that I am with you live streaming. Here we go. Oh, I know whoops, as I'm knocking into my trimmer here. Goodness gracious. Do need to get myself switched over here, and I wanted to let you all know thank you so much for voting on this month's poll to help me figure out which collections we'll be working with the most. It is on the community chat tab on my channel. I do try to put it up the Monday before the virtual crop, which is usually the second weekend of the month. Goodness gracious, you can tell it's been a little bit since I've live streamed. The Creative Memories virtual crops typically happen on the second weekend of each month, and I put up the poll the Monday before. It's been a little bit of a trying time here in Pennsylvania, just having the time to do the live streams and to do the virtual crops and to try to get a few videos out for you all. So I appreciate your patience with me and coming back to watch my channel and seeing what I am doing. Now we can get going. So first thing I want to mention for sketch number 1, we are going to be working with noteworthy days. Here is the sketch. Hang on, I've got one of my things hanging over a little bit here for my video setup. Thought I was going to hit it with the sketch, but I didn't. So that's what we're going to be doing. There's a lot going on this one, even though it doesn't look like it. I did pull in pieces from the side. I did pull in some pieces here, and I've added a little bit of extra because this one is going to be a 2-page layout using noteworthy days, and I'll let you all know we're going to have a little bit more for the February Noteworthy Days video. It might even be 2-page layouts because I did have some extra stickers after I got done with this one. I will show you all that towards the end when I show you the finished layout. The other thing I want to mention, I am using my Camera Chain Border Maker cartridge. If we can actually get the glare off and the thing to focus, the video camera. So this one is an older Border Maker cartridge. However, there is a current Border Maker cartridge that's very similar. It does have the cameras on it, but has a heart instead of a star, and it's called Shutter Love. And if you like how this one looks, check out Shutter Love Border Maker cartridge. I do have a link to my Creative Memories website in the description box with this live stream. And this is what I'm talking about with the chain border that we're going to be using today. So I think I've gotten most of the housekeeping stuff taken care of here. My space is a little bit more challenged right now. You know, like I did that whole cleanup video and now I'm like, boy, you wouldn't even know I got things cleaned up. Base pages from Noteworthy Days. We're going with the brown with the lighter brown striping through it. And we're going to be using it with the stripes going vertically through the page. So you can keep that in mind. I just really liked having it flow up through the page. And let's see here. I have to double check my notes since I designed this yesterday. I want to make sure I put things on in the order I need to put them on because there's going to be a good bit going on towards the end, but I love how this one turned out. You will also need your 0 centering rulers for this one if you make the design the same way that I'm going to be putting it together. So I'm going to grab my repositionable tape to use on my border here, my camera chain. And here we go, working on my little silicone border mat. Pull out my regular tape runner for this strip. What size is this strip, you ask? I will tell you, it's 1.5 inches, whoops, by 12 inches. Got a little crazy with my tape runner there. I wanted it to be just a little bit wider than our camera chain border, which is about 1 inch. And so this way you have just that little bit of extra paper showing on both sides of the border. Trying to make sure I get this on straight, and sometimes we have a little bit of variance in the paper. So there we go. Okay. And the other thing I'm going to mention is that I am putting these on a little bit off center. So some of this layout's going to be a little bit asymmetrical, and some of it's going to be kind of symmetrical. So you'll see what I'm talking about as I go along. But this is not exactly lined up either. Okay, this is why we're using repositionable tape. Because I went off the top of my page, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull this up. I could use my multi-purpose tool, but again, since it's repositionable tape, shouldn't necessarily be needed. Oops. And now I've got a little curl. All right, let's try to get this lined up a little bit better exactly at the bottom of the page. It's hard because you have a half a camera that you're lining up. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Sometimes scrapbooking makes you think a little bit more than what you think it's going to make you do. Or at least for me anyways. I think there's been a couple of these layouts that have made me almost break out in a sweat just a little bit. You don't think that that would happen with scrapbooking, but it can. So the paper that I'm using also from Noteworthy Days, this one I'm calling the Desert Floor paper because it has this crackly look to it. And I did pull some mats off of it as well. I'm using 4.25 by 6.25 mats for this one. The back side of the desert floor looking paper has the polka dots on it, green background with blue dots and kind of white circles. And then I've also pulled this plaid paper that's it has the kind of mint green stars on the back of it, if you can see that. And here is the plaid. The plaid has blues and browns in it, and I just thought it just coordinated beautifully with this. Okay, so the reason that we're using 1.5 inches also for this, besides the fact that I wanted it to highlight our border, is because when you cut your 4 mats from one sheet of paper, you cut 1.5 inches off each side before you do your cutting of your mats. So it's a nice way to use a scrap. And that's always fun. You know, we always kind of, you paper scrapbook, you do kind of wind up with some scraps as well. So, okay, let's see. So this one was our shorter one. This is the 10.5 by 1.5. This was our 12-inch by 1.5. Like I said, when you're cutting it off of your 12-inch paper, you wind up with these lengths. So they were both scraps. This piece here is 1 inch by 8.5 inches. And I'm going to center this one here through the center of this. And I am just eyeballing it for this one. You could pull out your 0 centering ruler for this as well, but it's about 1/4 of an inch on the top and the bottom. And you know what? I missed one of my notes. I also wanted 1/4 of an inch of our base paper showing. So I am going to pull out our multi-purpose tool here and bring this down 1/4 of an inch. And we'll see. I probably do need the ruler for this one because I know I did get a little bit intricate on parts of my measurements later. So let's go ahead and line this one up here. And yeah, that was pretty much dead center at 1/4 of an inch. Now that I'm looking at it next to my ruler. Okay. Let's see here. Maybe I should have reviewed my notes before I hit the live button. It's okay. You know, it always seems to work out. All right. So I have 3 of my 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats. And then I have this one. So this is half of our mat. And honestly, this was used last month on my sketch with me. So if you remember, or they use the stickers. It's kind of, I don't know if I've rebranded or not, but it's this here and there. This is the other half of that. You can almost see a little bit of the brown up here. So when I cut this mat in half, this was one of our 4 1/2 by 6 1/2 mats. We wound up with this as a scrap, and so now we're getting to use that one up. So if you want to see how to put this layout together, you can find that on my channel as well under the video tab, I'm pretty sure. But otherwise, it would have been part of last month's live stream. So with this one, let me get some tape runner on it first, because this is going to be, this is kind of specific, 4 inches up from the bottom and an 1.5 inches in from the edge. So I don't know if y'all have realized, but on your zero centering ruler, we have both vertical and horizontal markings. So I can actually set my ruler at an 1.5 inches in from the edge and 4 inches up from the bottom. Let's see. So it goes to 6 at the end. So I need it at the 2. And I'm looking at it kind of upside down, but that's okay because I can still make this work. So we're going from this corner here and just lining it up nice and straight on our page. Does that look pretty even and straight? Let's bring it up just a hair. Oh, actually, we have lines coming down our page, so I can follow my lines. There we go. Okay, so those corners met a second ago until I knocked it when I was taking away the ruler. So, okay, close enough for what we're doing. It is scrapbooking. The main goal is to get the photos on the page, right? Now let's get our 3 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 put on the page as well here. Okay, the first one is we're putting it kind of between these 2 stars. So you're almost centering it on 2 of your stars in your border chain and bringing it over just a little bit here. So that's kind of was my marker that I wanted to use to make sure that I placed it where I wanted to place it. And then this one is going about a 1/2 inch over. It will cover part of our mat that we just placed so precisely. There's a reason we placed it so precisely. So hang on, let me put this at the 0 on a 1/2 inch. There we go. Just making sure that I'm tracking where I think I need to be tracking here, because we do have something else that's going to go here. All right, and then another 1/2 inch off the top edge also. Let me figure out which end of my ruler I need here. Here's the 1/2 inch. And let's place this one next to that, but it's going to cover up a little bit of our mat, but it's also going partially through our plaid as well. And it's just above where the notebook page starts, because I thought, you know what, this actually makes a nice opportunity to journal on our page. I don't remember if the sketch covered mine up. Yeah, no, this one didn't actually. This showed like a tiny bit of journaling here. And I thought, we had this mat, let's use it, and it gives us an opportunity to journal as well. Now, let's go ahead and pull some of our other pieces here. So when I cut this 1 inch by 8.5 inch, we had a 3.5 inch piece left. And that's going to go on this bottom end of our page here. So again, we're using up another scrap, which is really nice. And It's just going to kind of be, again, a not exactly centered, excuse me, not exactly centered, but we're kind of going to have this little bit of a border on each side. And then we have this arrow that I found in our embellishment pack that we're going to go ahead and place on our page. And this is going to be pointing up towards our photos because, of course, we want people to check out all the photos that we're going to add to this page. And then we also had in our sticker set, because, you know, the goal is to use up all of the February stickers. We're not going to do it today, but I will do that. I'm going to put a foam square under this one. Let's go ahead and use a couple of these just to make sure that we don't wind up sagging anywhere. It's actually going to wind up with 3. This heart is kind of skinny on the top, and it's got that extra little banner running through it. So here we go with our you and me. And I just like that this one had the same colors that are going through our page as well. So that, I think, is not the end of our left side. Hang on, I got a couple more. One more, our date embellishment from our embellishment pack. And we'll go with repositionable. Why not? It's easy. So that one is going to go just right at the top here. We're going to have a circle on either side from this piece of mat. And then I also found a brown heart that fits our color scheme, because if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know I am funny about color. It just is one of my things. So now the left side of our page is done, and I will get to putting our right side together here. If anybody has any questions or comments, you can put them in the chat and I will address them as soon as I get this other half of the page done. I try to not interrupt the putting the main part of these things together. So again, I went ahead and I had 2 sheets of the paper with the desert brown, and so I went ahead and I did cut 1.5 inches off of my second sheet. I did not cut the mats yet off of the second page because I wasn't sure if I was gonna want them for something else, or if I was going to use the larger piece for something later down the road, or if I might need more strips for something. We need 1/2 inch at the top, don't we? 1/4 inch. And so I went ahead and left it intact, figuring that we'll see where it gets used, and we might wind up using the green side later. Who knows, depending on what colors are in the stickers. So stay tuned for that, and hopefully I'm giving you some ideas of something to use all of your Noteworthy Days collection for here coming up as well. You know, we'll have lots of ideas by the end of the year. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to actually need to purchase another paper pack, which has been out of stock, but they have reordered them and it should be back in sometime soon. I think most of you know you can go to my Creative Memories website, go to the item you're looking for, and if you click on notify me when this is back in stock, home office will send you an email. Otherwise, I will do my best to post when it's back in stock as well along my social media. And I'll try to mention it at the virtual crop as well. Okay, I'm just lining these 2 up. Since I eyeballed it, I just want to make sure I am keeping it even with our eyes here, flowing through the pages. And then on this other side, we have the last 4.25 by 6.25 mat. This one's going to go between the stars again. And then I have 2 mats that also had that, what I'm calling the desert floor effect. And these are going to have photos on them, so you won't see, and I will show you with the photo place cards here and just a little bit of what it will look like with photos on it, because otherwise I actually had to put the place cards on while I was designing this one because that green was throwing me off. It's just is what it is. You know, sometimes as you get older, you know things about yourself, and that was just one of those things that I knew about myself. All right, this one's going to be about a half inch from the bottom of the page. And let's see. Okay. Somehow I have a lot of notes about the placement of my mats, so I want to make sure that I'm getting it about an inch from the top of the page here. So this one's also in the plaid as well. There we go. And then this one is going to be between the stars again. And so it does cover up a little bit of our camera, but the reason I put it with the camera tops facing towards the edges of the page, so that part does match, but that way it just looked a little bit nicer that way versus having the top part of the camera going in, for me anyway. So of course, if you do this on your pages, go with what you like. All right, oh, we haven't quite finished this page yet. I need to roll up my sleeves though. I think our heat kicked on, which it's another cold day here in Pennsylvania. I'm definitely over winter here. Um, we'll see if the Army moves us somewhere warm next or not, but we are going to be what it's going to be. And so there we go. All right, this one is coming in here. And then I guess I probably should check and make sure I did that one roughly about the same spot. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Like I said, it doesn't have to be symmetrical this time. Bringing this other page, we have a camera here as well. So this one is, and this is again is our 1 inch by 3.5 inch scrap from cutting the one that's going across the top. And we had a second heart sticker that matches this one. And so we're just trying to bring a little more continuity through our page. And I don't think I'm going to pop this one up, but I am going to layer it just ever so slightly over our camera, coming through our page this way. So here is the right side of our page. All right, what do you all think? How did I do with my little cluster there? Hopefully it looks good. Let me get myself straightened out. There we go. Camera got focused. It's all coming together again here. Oops, and then I go and knock the page. All right, so photos are going to go here, and I will bring back in the sketch in just a moment. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat, because now is a good time when I'm wrapping this one up and about to pull in sketch number 2 to answer any questions, or if you'd like to say hi, it's always nice to say hi too. All right, so there we go. We have space for, what is this, 6 large photos, journaling here. And I just thought that that really spoke well to the sketch. I know I didn't quite get these on exactly straight, but everything's framed out nicely. Like I said, it covers up that green on that one mat that was a little distracting. And there we go. Not too shabby. Where did I put my sketch? I put it here. So you can see where they had kind of 2 different, they wanted to use full size 9x11 and 8x10. And I'm like, you know, I don't want to use that many layers of paper on my layout here. And then I decided to layer over on this end and use slightly larger photos as well through the page. So similar, they did have 3 on here, but now we have it as a 2-page layout. and we're able to add in the extra space for journaling as well. All right, let me know what y'all think of this one in the comments later if you like, and or now if you want. Either way. Whoops, forgot I had all those mats on here. Okay, sketch number 2. This one is our birthday jubilee collection. Uh-oh, I just dragged out one of my mats when I was trying to get my cheat sheet up here. Let's see. Okay, we've got a lot going on. Well, not a ton, but I did pull out my jumbo circle. That was something that was recommended with the sketch. But I thought, as soon as I saw the circle coming in from the side, I said, let's make that into a balloon. It just seemed like it would fit with the birthday jubilee collection, doesn't it? Rather than just having a random circle. And I know it's some of it's artistic and what have you, and you are going to cut your circle a bit. So if anybody would like a demonstration on how I do the balloon or how I cut the circle, please leave me a comment. I'm happy to demonstrate it. It's one of those things it's easy, but if you haven't done it before, it can be a little challenging to think about. So here we go. We are going to be using the Fast to Fab pages that had the balloons on it. Go figure. And actually, I thought about the balloon, and then I checked the pages and found these balloons, and I thought, you know what? Let's use that. That would be fun to do. And I brought in a little bit of our Starry Night shimmer paper, and I'm gonna actually try to get my right page over with my stuff on it. I don't know if that's gonna work out for me or not. How's if I slide it a little? There we go. Okay, forgot this was one of my embellishments. So on the photo for our Fast to Fab with the balloons, they actually show this as being the right side. And I am opting to make it our left side just because we have that, the sketch indicates that our balloon is coming in from the top right. And I thought, I'm not going to have my big circle coming in and covering up this beauty that the designers created. So we are using this as the left side of our page. It does have some light orange stars on it. And, I always want to say sherbet, but it's probably tangerine. And so hence your cardstock would probably definitely match that as well. I used the Starry Night shimmer for my circle. And when you cut it, look at what happens. You do wind up with a flat edge on your circle. And so we are going to make a little, that's why we have embellishments and stickers, is to cover up things like that. Nobody will know that that's not a full circle, right? It's all good. Whoops, not everything is good, but in this case with scrapbooking, there's always a solution for so much of this. And I love that this one has this little frame, so we can just line up our circle along the edge of our frame. So that's one of our scraps there, and our other scrap, and I just put the tape on the wrong side of the paper. So I may need to, I'll sort that out later with my eraser, and that'll be okay. I do have one of the erasers. I'm just going to put the tape on this other side, and it's going to be okay, because I got excited to show you all the flat edge, and then I forgot that a lot of times now with the cardstock, I don't even think about flipping it because it's cardstock. It's not the designer paper. It's the same on both sides. Well, with this one, we need our not boo-boo, but our flat part at the top. So let's foam square this one. I think that'll be a good use for one of our larger foam squares. And here we go. I don't know if we need a small one. I don't know if I can have to cut that one or not. Let's see. Do I need to put this one in half or not? Okay, and usually I don't do the embellishments last, but since I made the boo-boo, I'm putting the embellishment on. What can I say? I'm cutting this one in half, straight through, just to make sure it fits our um, stem of our flagpole here, or our banner, or whatever this thing is called, our cheering stick. Okay, yeah, our woohoo flag. How's about that? So that one is going up here. Okay, I'm gonna have to get my eraser. Nope. I'm not going to get out my eraser because it's not handy in the place where I thought it was. That's what I get for cleaning up. So you know what? We're going to just use our, I'm just going to use my fingernail and get at least a couple of rows of that up. And you know what? It works in a pinch. The eraser is more efficient, or maybe, I don't know. So I'm just going to cover up those last couple pieces, and you know what, since it's fresh, I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick. And this is showing you there's another option. You can get the regular tape runner up. It just sometimes it'll rip your paper if you have the thinner designer paper, so be careful when doing this. It seems like it's doing okay with this shimmer paper here, and I just got part of it stuck in there. I'm glad it doesn't sound like a fingernail on chalkboard. I hope y'all wasn't. Hopefully, I don't think the mic picked that up a whole lot. Thankfully. Okay, moving right along. Now that we got that one sorted out, and you can't really tell that I made the boo boo now. Let's grab our mats. So with the 2025 collections, Creative Memories has gone more to just the 4.5 by 6.5 mats, which is what it is. It's home office made the decision, and I will still love the mats, so I'm still going to work with them. We're just going to be maybe using them a little differently than what I have in the past. So I picked this orange one and this blue one, and we are going to be using them as photo mats. So these will both get covered up. I mean, that's partially why I'm putting the one on sideways, because I know that it is going to get covered. It does have milestone year on the back, and this one has, this is worth the celebration on the back. And we are going to place this one down here. And we're not exactly covering our balloons, the bottom of the balloons. Hang on, let me make sure this is going to fit over here. So I did want a journal box on this page as well. So I'm going to scoot this over just a hair. I do have this covering part of our circle as well. And I'm going to bring it down just a hair. Here we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then at the top, we've got our blue mat going in sideways, and I may have to lift this up a little bit. This is why we usually put these on later. Here we go. So remember, this one is a 4.5 by 6.5, and so it is okay to have our embellishment over it a little bit, but we also have the foam square, so just tucking in our photo is not going to be a problem at all with that one. This piece is also part of our Starry Night Shimmer. I did take it off one of the corners from when I did my circle. This is 3 inches by 2.5 inches, so it's definitely going to be a smaller journal box. Now see, this one, it doesn't matter which side the tape runner goes on. It's just that one circle. Why is it the one time I needed to remember? Well, you know, I guess it became a teachable moment, right? Show y'all you could get some of the regular tape runner up if you needed to. And now this little white square came off of one of our index sheets. So I cut it at 2.5 by 2 inches. It was actually, ironically, something else that I cut circles from at some point, and it was able to just pull this little bit of white cardstock essentially, because those index sheets are basically a free sheet of cardstock in each paper pack, which is kind of nice as well. Now I have one last embellishment in my little tray here, and that is our orange present with the blue bow. And again, color is important. We're bringing this down. This is actually going to cover this bottom part of the um, string from our balloons. I'm going to go ahead and just use regular tape runner on it to place it down here, kind of into these um, diagonal lines, edging border that's on the Fast Fab. So the left side of our layout is done. And you could, you could do 3 4x6 photo, like do smaller mats and do 3 smaller photos running through this page. You could easily kind of create an extra circle from a photo coming out here. I don't think I put no, I didn't put the photo ones on here because I figured I would just show you. Let me see if I can find my other real quick here. What it looks like with the photo mats on it. And usually I do this at the end, but for whatever reason, there you go. You can see how that would look and how well the colors just blend through the page. Also, in your photos are going to be the main star of this page. Okay, put those in there. Let's move this over. Let's get this left side put together as well. And you're going to see this is one that I also am using one of our larger embellishments that I struggle with so much. I don't know if y'all struggle with this or not, but here's a cheers to another year. And this one is just, it's really big. It takes up a lot of one of our pages. It's 3 3/4 by almost 5 inches. So it takes up a chunk of our page. And I'm taking the opportunity to cover up part of the balloon with it. This is what I am using to kind of just create a little more balloon effect. I took one of the corners of the Starry Night paper that I cut the balloon from, and I cut off the point, and then I etched in a little bit of a couple of smaller points there. And when it's underneath here, you don't see these other points as much. And I'll show you, we're going to create a string for this one as well using one of our stickers. Actually, I was going to pull in, oh wait, let me see. Now I'm a little bit paranoid. I've got to think about, make sure I've got it to where I don't have to flip it anymore. Yes, we don't. The one thing I did forget to tell you, I did use, maybe I told you, green blade inside. The sketch called for a different blade. I think it called for the blue blade. And I opted to use the green blade in part because when I saw that embellishment, I thought, that might be a fun one for a birthday page. And it would work nicely with the idea of the balloons as well. Okay, now I just need to figure out where I put my border mat. Okay, well, maybe not. I know it was here. It's on my, here. There we go. Usually half the time I put it on the chair. It was on the chair, but it fell back from the arm of the chair. Ah, good times. Okay. Here we go. At least I figured it out pretty quick. All right, so now we are going to just place this up and under, but I want to make sure my orange mat is going to be down here. So we want to make sure that our bottom of our balloon is going to be visible with our mat down here as well. So there we go. That's going to come out the side there. And isn't that cute? Doesn't it look kind of like a balloon coming off the side of that? I mean, I thought it worked reasonably well. I'll hold it up closer so y'all can see it closer coming up. This one mat, this is one that has the orange kind of confettis on it. It has party time with balloons on the back, which was tempting to use on this page, but I wanted to have the photo mat side instead. And we are also going to use this blue polka dot mat in the top corner. It has confetti everywhere on the back of it. And then we are going to add our last few pieces here. This one's also going up in the corner here. Okay, because you don't want to, like I said, it's one of those things where you just don't want to cover up what the designers have done as well. So we have our other box coming in down here. I'm going to go ahead and, again, use just the regular tape runner on it. In fact, I think I'm going to put it down far enough. I want to make sure it's on the page, but I kind of want to angle it so it covers up the gap between where the tan sherbety shows versus the border. So I'm going to hold that up just so you can see how it's basically essentially at the bottom of the page, but angled just so you can't see the in-between. It just looks like the borders going straight into our present there. And our cheers to another year is going to overlap our mat just a little bit, but remember 4.5 by 6.5 mat, it's not a problem. And we're also going to foam tape it because it is a large embellishment, but we want it to be just really popped up. I know our photos are the star of the whole page, but we also kind of want to get a few things underneath this embellishment. So we will be creating a little bit of a cluster, and I need to make sure I have space to do that. A piece of hair caught in my foam tape. What's the big idea? I'm using my microchip scissors, which I love because they don't goop up with their special coating on them. And I'm pretty sure these are back in stock. I forgot to double check on that one. Okay. So let's get the backing off of that. And go ahead and get this placed up here. Cheers to another year. That might make the fun inside for a large card as well. If you have an envelope that can hold it, or have our envelope and bow maker, that might be a fun addition there. Now, we had 2 orange confetti-ish stickers, which I can't seem to pick up. And then we also had an embellishment with the confetti on it. We are going to use the one that has the extra curly Q in it for our string on our balloon. So coming out from our little balloon end that we made, took the time to make. Let me get this lifted up just ever so slightly so I can stick the white part of the sticker underneath. And just angle that out. I've got a little bit of repositionable tape that came up as well, so clean that up from my page also. There we go. And now I'm going to flip the embellishment over because that was a larger one, but it was another thing that I just thought, made sense for this end. Now, if you opt to not use the large embellishment, you can easily get another photo either horizontal or vertically on this page. So keep that in mind as well. We are going to place the blue lower than the orange, and we're kind of going to angle them over each other a little bit here. So it looks like our streamers are intertwined. These are together, but not quite intertwined. And this is going to be a little bit more intertwined, I guess, if you will. And this does have a little bit of, it's got a little texture to it. I don't know how to word that just right. And I think we're going to, again, put the orange to the outside, coming out from the side here. And there we go. So easy enough to fit a photo also here as well. We have our present. We have enough for the 4x6 photos here, like I said, just to get, and it's fine. This overlaps just ever so slightly, but nothing major. And there you go. There's your right side of the page is done. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If not, I'm going to keep on moving on here. That's the right side of the page up close. There are our stickers together and the one coming out from the bottom of the balloon to make it look like a string. And if you don't want to do that, like I said, grab one of your pens, grab one of your shimmer pens, and just you can draw it in straight with a little curl the way they have on the design here, or you can use a color and make a curly Q look like a ribbon on your page as well. So here's our 2 pages together. What do y'all think of that one? Just a different way to line up our Fast-to-Fab paper and put that together kind of nicely, I thought. Overall, I thought it came together well. We can see the balloons. We've got plenty of them, and it looks like, with adding those other pieces, it looks like we even had even more on the page. And it works well all together, I think. Here is our sketch again. You can see I just had the one larger photo and 2 smaller. So I did add in the larger photo here and over here as well. And the smaller photo can easily fit where they have this one on the sketch. Okay, let's move on to sketch number 3. Grab a quick sip of water. Oops. I'm losing one of my mats there. Goodness gracious. Put this up so I know how I'm putting this one back together. All right, for this one, we are going to use Happy Together. So this was our Valentine's collection this year. So it kind of became an extra challenge for me with using the Noteworthy Days stickers, which I forgot to show you all earlier. I will do that before we sign off. I'll show you what I had left in Noteworthy Days. Hopefully I won't forget. Actually, I'm going to do it now so I don't forget. This is what I had left from Noteworthy Days. You can see it was a good amount of stickers still to work with. So like I said, it might wind up being 2 2-page layouts. We might have a couple of cards as well, or a single page layout with 2 cards. I'm not sure yet. Lots of hearts. The colors were throwing me off a little bit, and so that's why we wound up with the Noteworthy Days layout that we did. I feel like I did pretty well. That camera sticker inspired that entire layout, and so that's kind of why I stayed away from the hearts. But we're gonna see those hearts coming up soon. But also with the Happy Together, I kind of wanted to show you another option of something you could do with this one as well. And I went floral instead of hearts on this one too. I don't know if I'm not anti-Valentine's Day. I promise you, it just seemed to work a little bit better as more of a spring layout for me versus a Valentine's layout. So I pulled out did I show you this one already? There's the mats coming up, and I did use a punch. The punch I used was our Floral Peaks. So we have our Floral Peaks decorative border punch. This one is one of our edge punches. What that means is instead of being a chain like what the camera one was on our Noteworthy Days layout, the Floral Peaks, when you punch it, stays with your paper. And so I used our soft pink cardstock and I punched it actually on both edges. And then I cut this paper at 7¼ inches after I punched. So you punch first because you're going to get a little bit of, like about 1/8 of an inch off the top of your cardstock on each end as well. So my measurement is at 7½ after I punched. And for the base, I picked the pink floral paper with it looked like a gray stem. So I am going to be adding an extra cardstock color to your suggested cardstocks, if you will. That one is not on the list. They did have, I think, platinum shimmer, but I didn't think the shimmer really spoke to me on this layout. It just, the paper itself has more of a muted look to it, and so I didn't want to go shimmer on it. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to go ahead and repositionable up our floral peaks part first. Ooh. And I just did something not so fun. Let me wind this in. There we go. Got a little too crazy with my repo. And that might be the end of it. Yep, it is the end of the roll. In fact, I think I went past the end of the roll. Okay, change that one out real quick. Make sure I don't have anything stuck in my top part of my punch there. And this is why I make sure to always have refills ready to go so I can keep on moving along here. Yep. All right. So that's the end of that. And now let's get a little regular tape runner on this other part of our paper. Okay. That should do it. This one is going to line up with the right edge of our paper. Now, this is something else that I did consider doing some mitering, but honestly, I think with running a little bit late to get these 4 layouts live streamed for all of you, I just did not have the brain space to do the math to figure out how much to cut off and then to miter it back in for the cardstock. So that's something that you can keep in mind when you go to put together your layouts. If you opt to do something similar to what I've done, is you can actually just take off, several inches from this paper, and it looks like I'm a little crooked when I flipped it over, but you know what? It's okay. It's going to be what it's going to be. But yeah, definitely think about taking several inches off, because then you can just essentially put your cardstock in your paper onto your 13 by 13 cutting mat, kind of put it back together as a 12-inch page for your album, if you're willing to do the math. So you have to be able to do the math for it. We have our red flower embellishment that's going in the top, and here are my cool gray mats. Now, I did use an entire sheet of the cool gray cardstock for this layout, and you will see we are going to have 1, 2, 3. We're going to have 5 of the larger 4x6 photo spots, and then we're going to have 2 3x4s. Actually, it's winds up being 3 3x4s with this embellishment from the embellishment pack. So this one I just couldn't resist because it's the same flowers that you see on the paper. We're going to bring it in, and I just thought it would be perfect for journaling, or grab out your custom cutting system ovals, and you can cut a photo into an oval shape as well to place on the page. So let's put some tape runner onto these so we can get this page put together. This one feels like it's quick and easy. We don't have, it was just the embellishment pack and the paper pack for this collection, so it wound up being a little bit simpler, but overall the sketch is simpler as well. So sometimes you work with what you have, and that is perfectly okay too. I think we're going to still wind up with 2 really cute pages. Let's see, 1/8 of an inch from the corner is what my note is for this. So we're going to frame that out on there. Again, 1/8 of an inch from the corner down here. Frame that out on here. Okay, because in that way we have a little bit, about 1/8 of an inch from our border as well. And this one I'm just going to eyeball in the center. You can grab out your zero centering ruler and do it like we did earlier, but you know, it's okay. So what do y'all think about that? Now our floral peaks are a little bit subdued and subtle on the page, but it just gives an extra little element to look at on the page. And it does show up. You do see it. It might, I don't know if the camera's picking it up very well or not. Somebody can let me know about that later as well if you want. Let's get the right side of our page put together. Okay, here's our other mats. Here is where I cut that last 4x6 from the sheet of cardstock in half, and that's the other part of our pink, soft pink, with the border punched from it. A little more repositional tape. And now just a little bit of regular tape runner to help hold our page in place. And again, you could figure out the mitering on this one as well. It would obviously be a much smaller piece. This one winds up being 4 1/4 by 12, and that does include our border. The border wound up being about 3/4 of an inch off the edge of our page on each side. Okay, I'm going ever so slightly crooked with that one again, but it might be just some variance in the cardstock, and that's okay. So here's our cardstock coming in. I'm doing a lot of tape runnering on this one. But that's okay. We are going to go ahead and just, again, this one is going to be a little more asymmetrical, I think, from the opposite side, because like I said, with the other one, I definitely placed those at that 1/8 of an inch. And on this side, we are going about 1 inch to 1 1/4 inches from the bottom of the page and about 1/8 from this left edge. There comes in our 2 mats. Bring that one over just a little bit because I know I have an embellishment coming in. And again, here we have, actually, I'm going to bring that one in. That one definitely has plenty of space. This one has our butterfly down here, so I'm going to bring that up a little bit. But again, you can easily fit, you know, I've been known to run my horizontal photos through the page as well. So I think we are going to pop up our flowers, but not the butterfly. And just having that little subtle red in here didn't really, it goes well enough with the gray that you don't really have to worry too much about having the reds in with the pink and the black and white as well. Let's grab our foam square for this one. I'll get a couple of small ones as well. I want to put that one off just a little bit. Fix that. Okay, here we go. And I apologize if you can hear our garbage is being collected. I think my microphone usually is pretty good at not picking up sounds on the street, but it is what it is. You know, these things happen. Just so happened that I didn't realize that they hadn't come yet today. All right, so this is the right side of our sketch number 3. What do y'all think? Do you like the addition of the gray to the page? And let's put this out of the way. Okay, so there you go. There are our 2 pages for sketch number 3. Thought it turned out kind of sweet and it would be a perfect spring page, even though it's using the Valentine's collection, if you will, our Happy Together. Here is the sketch for this one. And you can see it does have kind of showing a border on either side of the photos. They do have 3 and 2, but smaller. So this is 4 by 5.5. And I honestly thought about doing that, but I thought, you know what? I'm happy to use the scraps this time. It just, like I said, sometimes we wind up with too many scraps, and this way we just used 1 sheet of cardstock to do all of our mats, along with the embellishment here that could be used for journaling or not. You can just not put a mat here and just put a 3rd photo in the entire space as well. So photos here, here, of course, here and there. You can, again, move this up and put a 3rd photo instead of the butterfly as well. So giving y'all a couple extra ideas. Look like they wanted you to journal down here, and the paper just doesn't lend itself to that. You can journal on the pink if you want to use your other little box for a little oval photo instead, or maybe you have something that has something with a heart instead, if you do want to use it for Valentine's. All right, let's get into the home stretch here. We're going on to sketch number 4. And for this one, we are going to be using our Flurry of Fun collection. We had the most votes for these 3, and like I said in my initial post, I knew for sure I was going to be doing the noteworthy days because I do want to be consistent with using those stickers each month and giving you all ideas for that. So here is what we're going to be doing with a Flurry of Fun with sketch number 4. I do have quite a few mats, and I also did pull out my wave blade for my 12-inch trimmer for this one. So this one is one of our specialty blades, and I will explain a little bit more about that once I get into the piece that I used it on. Bring back in my little tray here, so I have a place to put all of my stuff here. That is going to go onto the page. I can go up here, and I did put in photo mats for this one, so that way you all could see as well. Sometimes I'll put the photo mats in, and sometimes not. It just depends on where it makes a little more sense to me. Scoot that one up a little so I don't lose my sticker flying across my room. So one of the things with this sketch is they do have 4 4x6 photos in the center. Now I've opted to use a piece of our designer paper as kind of a mat for this, and I cut mine at 6 inches by 8.5 inches, and it's the one with the kind of the blue chevron, light blue chevron on the back, but it kind of had a snowflake look to the front of the paper. I am using the blue plaid for the base on both sides. It has the, snowy day clouds, I guess, on the back, if you will. And I also did pull the one that looked like the broken ice with the red plaid on it, because this is the one that I did use the wave blade on. And so when you're cutting with your blades that do the fancy things, the crinkle blades, the designer blades, if you will, what you want to make sure to do is with your 12-inch sheet of paper, cut off about 1/8 of an inch from the end of your paper. You're going to make your first cut, and then you are going to flip your paper and then measure out and do your next cut. So that's how I got it so it looks pretty symmetrical, although with this wave blade, it's not as critical. It didn't look or seem to be as critical as with some of the other ones. Like the scalloping blade has definitely a distinct outer bump and inner bump. So something to be mindful of. And let's see here. Is there any other housekeeping things while I've still got trucks in my front yard? I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and place this one across the top. And our red plaid, oh my goodness, is going about 1/8 of an inch down from the top. It's essentially across the top of our page here. You can see just ever so slight amount of blue above it. Because of course you're going to have these little indentures from the wave part anyways. I pulled our border stickers as well, the one with the mountain with the pine trees showing on it, which reminds me a lot of our last home in Washington State. So many evergreens there. It's just, it is beautiful, but whew, it's definitely a gray place to live. Gray, gray. Okay. Next, I'm going to add some tape runner to this next piece here, the snowflake piece, if you will. And this one. All right, so I made myself a little note to line up with the yellow line on the bottom of the plaid page. So there's, you know, sometimes you can make the paper work for you. So down here at the bottom, there's definitely a yellow grid, and that's what I'm essentially lining up the bottom of the snowflake paper with for my paper placement on the page. And I love that I don't have to pull out a ruler or anything. I just have to follow the line that's already there. Okay. I also have one mat, and this one is the one with the kind of swirly, I guess, are continuing with our Starry Night theme a little bit, but the swirly, windy looking snowy page that has the gray ice look with the red boxes on the back. This one is one of our 4.5 by 6.5 mats because this paper pack did also have the 4x6 mats as well. And this is going directly at the edge of the page because I wanted to make sure that you would have space for a slightly larger photo if you want. So one of the other things with this, if you do actually have two pieces of this sheet of paper, or if you have, if you opt to do cardstock to do this as your mat for this page, you can cut it at the 6.5 by 8.5. I just had the one sheet, so I did cut it at 6 inches, but you can absolutely give yourself that little bit of extra space for when you put your photos on the page. Rather than bumping out exactly with the edge, you would have just that little bit of extra here where you can see the paper just on the outside there a little bit. And I'll show you more about that as I finish this, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and get our large mountain sticker on our page. Again, it seems to be the month to use up some of these larger stickers and things that sometimes I do struggle with. I don't know if y'all struggle with them as well. This is going to go down here, and we are going to add one of our trees as well. So I press that down. It looks like it's, okay. And then we're going to add one of the pine trees as well over our edge of our mountain here. So it's kind of going to give it a little bit almost like a 3D effect with the tree and then the mountains. It does have these evergreens, but the sizing is just different. And I pulled a little blue sticker. I'm going to wait until the end because I thought I might need a little touch of blue in this bottom corner because this is all in grays and whites essentially. And we do have some other blue running through here, but once you put your photos on, of course, you want your photos to be the star, but we might be adding just this little pop of color down here as well because I just thought it might need it. And I'm also going to wait to add, we are going to use our large burr as well from our sticker set across the top of the page once I get the right page put together. And so let me bring in our right page. Speaking of which, let's get some of our embellishments off. Let's get some of our photo match things off here. We have another border sticker. Oof, we got a lot going on. Take those off. We're using a couple more mats. We have the other pine tree. And I've got the other half of our snowflake. Because like I said, I had one sheet, cut it at the 6 inches first, and then I cut it at 8.5. And afterwards, I was thinking maybe I should have just taken off that extra 2.5 inches and then cut it at 6 inches. But you know, hindsight, you do what works for you. So I have another 1.5 inch by 12-inch piece with the wave blade going across the top, and I'm going to bring in this side. So this one is more symmetrical, so I'm going to try to get these lined up. Let's see if I can actually do that here. The garbage truck finally finished, thank goodness. That was a lot of noise. Hopefully if y'all could hear me. Nobody said they couldn't, so I figure usually people let you know when they can't versus if you can. So I'm very glad that my mic didn't pick up all that noise. They decided to do some compacting or something while they were here. It's like, oh, yeah. Don't you know I'm live streaming? Come on. Of course they can't. How would they know? They're working. Okay, so let's go ahead and line this up as well. Oops, my paper's still lined up in the first place here. There we go. Oh, good. That looks exactly where I cut it through. So, okay. And now, well, I'll just leave this one here. Why? No, I'll just leave it as a single. I don't want it to be distracting underneath there for you all. Okay, so I have the other Starry Night Swirly Wind Light Blue 4.5 by 6.5 mat for the other side of this page. Again, it has the ice with the red box on the back. And then I also found, when I was looking through our mats, this is one of our 4x6 mats, and I'm going to, boy, it's been a long time since I've had to use the light blocker. Hang on. Oh, there you could see it. So it has the mountain scene, again, which matches our border, and it matches the sticker I used on the opposite side of the page. So I thought, you know what, perfect opportunity to go ahead and use that mat as well on this page. And I'm going to give you a couple of options of things you can do with this mat in particular as well. So here, this one's coming in from the right side of the page. I'm going to give it about the same height as the other. Well, no, I can't because I have to get this one in the bottom first. Hang on, this is going directly in the bottom corner here. And so if you do, again, like I said, opt to have this paper larger and add that extra 1/2 inch, cover up the mat. You know, there's nothing saying, I mean, you want your photos to start, and this has so much white and gray space. It's not going to matter if you take out a 1/2 inch from it. So you can just definitely layer over that one. And I'm going to just put this opposite real quick a minute here and double check the height on that one. Yeah, that one's definitely lower. So I'm actually going to I don't want to cover up the mountain peak per se, so it's definitely going to be a little bit offset. It's a good thing they're at opposite ends of the page. There we go. So a little asymmetrical again, but I think it's okay. It works. It's not going to throw anything off, and you're going to have your photos on there anyways. We have another pine tree with snow on it that's gray. That is going to go over on this edge of our mat here. It's going to cover up kind of the center one and just kind of, again, give it a little bit more of a pop to the page, a little more of a 3D effect. In fact, you can already see how much more the sticker stands out versus the mat to the eye. It'll definitely help draw the eye a little bit. And then I have 3 more stickers going at the top here. So I'm using a lot of stickers this time from this collection. I have our heart with the snowflake on it. That's going up here in the corner. We're going to layer it with our snow adventure tag, but I don't want it to go too far over where the photo is going to be. So let's put this one down here first. We are going to foam square this one so that way when we do go to place our photo, it's not going to give us any trouble at all. And then I have a third sticker. Let's see, Snow Adventure, do we want you? We're going to actually have that with the writing directly up. So that's covering our heart just a little bit. So again, like I said, it's going to be kind of a small mini cluster, if you will. So this one has just one of those little circular, I'm going to call it a snowburst. It's kind of what I would have typically called a starburst before, but let's call it a snowburst since we are on a snow adventure here, and this one's going under as well. Just covering the corner of our mat. Again, 4.5 by 6.5 mat means we can get away with topping off the corners just a little bit. So bringing in the left side of my page again, lining that up, we are going to add our burr across the top here. Make sure to punch out these center pieces from your letters, and if you want, you can use your ruler for the placement. I am actually going to use the paper again because I can. So I'm going just a little bit below my blue line that's at the top of the page here. It's like a lighter blue, and I'll show you this up close as well. I'm bring this over to the right just a hair. There we go. Because when I looked at it, I don't want the red showing through, but I'm going to place my letters kind of close together. Even though they're going to go across the page, I kind of want them closer than what they were on the sticker sheet here. Because these are really kind of spaced out on here. Here's our 2 R's. We've got a lot of R's here with our burr. So we're putting our title kind of running through the top of our page. This is going to be pretty close to the edge. To make sure I get it straight. Red is not showing through the top part of my cutout, which is nice. I don't know what I was going for. It's always nice when those things work out. And our exclamation point at the end here. Okay. There it is. It is a cold and wintry page, and I can tell you it's definitely been cold and wintry here in Pennsylvania. I am definitely over winter. I think I said that earlier. Definitely want to move somewhere warm next. For sure. So, but you know, if we wind up going somewhere cold, we'll figure it out too. It just means y'all will probably be listening to me talk about the cold again. All right. So here again, 4 by 6 photos fit nicely on this mat. We'll have a little bit of our snowflakes showing at the top, bottom, and through the center. Although they do have them kind of bunched on the sketch. So you can separate them or you can bunch them. Let's go ahead and show them bunched since that's how the sketch was. Whoops. All right, we're going to cover that and bring it in bunched. Okay, Catherine. Because my papers keep moving since I don't have these things stuck down. It's a little bit of a challenge here. Hopefully that gives you all an idea about that. Let's see if I want my star down here. I think I do. Let's see, you can see where that moved to. I do want my little blue star. Like I said, just that little extra touch of blue. And I'm going to run it right through again the two light blue markers here with the plaid. So I will hold it closer again, coming up. Oops. All right, what do y'all think of this one? Kind of fun. Here is the sketch. You can see they did have, they wanted borders at the top and the bottom, and I opted to add the mat instead and the larger sticker. So it's up to you. I mean, I thought about doing the snowman punch. So if you were lucky enough to get that punch, it sold out pretty quick. You could easily add that with the mountains at the top as well. Down here, like I said, you can easily fit another photo or use this for your journal box because this gray is so light that would be easy enough to see any black pen over it. Let me show you real quick where I placed that star. It's going to be hard with these mats on, so I'm going to take those off. Sometimes these things work out better than other times. But here, there we go. I was hitting my setup again. So they're just adding that between those with those blue lines in the plaid. Just worked out nicely for me. The beginning of our burr going across the page. And again, take those off, Catherine. Here we go. Left side of the page. So that's it for this month's virtual crop. I'm going to show you once again real quick here what we have left. Here, so I have a piece of the purple shimmer paper. This is what we have left in our Noteworthy Days stickers. So I will be working probably this afternoon on trying to get something designed with these. Definitely, I feel like the Happy Valentine's Day is probably going to wind up on a card, but we might have some fun with the coffee and the iced, whatever that is. This is, I don't drink coffee. Somebody, looks like one of those caramel, maybe a frap type thing. I don't know. But we'll figure it out. It's just a matter of, for me, because it has these greens in here. And so working with the color palette that I wanted to work with for our first sketch, it just didn't fit for me. So we will have some greens either in a card or in another layout soon. Like I said, I'll try to get it designed today. Whether or not that means I'll be able to film right away is another issue. So bear with me on that. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you all will stay long enough to subscribe if you're new here, or add a little comment and let me know which layout I did was your favorite. I will put up the poll on my Creative Pages with Catherine Facebook page with photos of all the finished layouts where you all can just add a little like to those as well, to which ones you liked. I like that you can actually vote more than once that way on the Facebook versus when I did the community poll here on YouTube. It was kind of cutting things off. So I look forward to you all joining me again next month for the March virtual crop. And remember, it should be the second weekend of the month, and I will put up the poll the Monday before. Hopefully, I will post if something's going on where I don't get it done in time. It's just been very interesting, and our empty nest is approaching quickly as well. So I've been trying to spend some extra time with my kids while they are here. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Until next time.